Hi everyone, today I will speak to you about visitor visas, particularly under the tourist stream. It is a common assumption that visitor visas are fairly straightforward and easy to obtain. However, unfortunately, that is not the case. Today I will talk to you about some of the evidentiary requirements that are required when lodging your visitor visa application, and in particular, the things that the department looks at when they're assessing whether you are a genuine temporary entrant coming to Australia temporarily for the purposes of having a holiday. For those of you who haven't watched my channel before, my name's Valeria and I'm from Migration Mind. I wanted to talk to you about this visa subclass in particular due to the recent climate where their applications are heavily scrutinized by the Department of Home Affairs. I've had a number of clients approach our office devastated due to lodging their own visitor visa applications only to find out that they have been refused. So what does the department look at when they're assessing visitor visa applications? As I mentioned earlier, they will be assessing whether the visa applicant genuinely intends to travel to Australia temporarily and for the purposes of tourism. So as a result, the department will have regard to things like whether you have substantially complied with your previous visa conditions in Australia or your bridging visas, as well as your intention to comply with the current visa that's currently awaiting assessment. And they will also consider any other relevant matters. So how do you demonstrate your intention to comply with the visa conditions? Well, you might start by demonstrating that you have sufficient funds in order to support your stay in Australia, which means that you are unlikely to seek out work and as a result be in breach of your visitor visa conditions. You might also want to rely on the fact that you've travelled to Australia before and abided by your previous visa conditions or conditions on your bridging visas. Also, if you've travelled to comparable countries, you may want to also demonstrate previous travel and compliance. So you can also consider to provide evidence of your personal circumstances in your home country, and that will demonstrate your ties to your home country and obviously an incentive to return back home. And this could include things like, for example, stable employment. So if you have ongoing employment, perhaps you want to demonstrate evidence and also that leave has been granted for your holiday from your employer. You may want to also rely on the fact that you may have assets in your home countries. So for example, if you have any property or any other significant assets, then I would certainly recommend including that with your application. Additionally, you may also want to consider if you have family at home, then you may want to include evidence that you have children or husband or a wife who will stay in the home country whilst you travel on your holiday. So once you have demonstrated your personal circumstances and your incentive to return to your home country, you may also want to show evidence that your plans of travel to Australia are consistent with the purpose of the visitor visa. And this may include things like if you have already pre-booked your proposed holiday plans, or if you're visiting a friend or a partner, then have you included an invitation letter providing information about your stay in Australia. Overall, the things we just talked about provides you with a good start as to what is required when applying for a visitor visa application. However, the department will also consider the circumstances of your home country when assessing whether there is an intention for you to remain in Australia past the validity of the visitor visa. In general, it is always best to provide as much information as possible so the department can consider your personal circumstances properly and assess your application accordingly. Everyone's case has a unique set of circumstances, so when you're making your visa application, you need to put your best shot forward to maximize the prospects of having your application successful. If you think you are having any difficulties or any doubts about preparing your own visitor visa application, then make sure that you seek professional advice. And I just want to point out that this video is providing you with general information only and should not be taken as advice. So as always, if you think that you require assistance, make sure to see a migration professional.